Hi YouTube, welcome to my channel. So today I'm just bringing you an A-level kind of UCAS, university applications, kind of tips and tricks, just for the back to school season. I know a lot of yous will be coming up to going back to school, and some of yous will be either choosing A-levels or have chosen A-levels and will be about to start A-levels. So, seeing as I've just received my results today, I thought I would share with you my advice on how to ensure you can get the best from your A-levels and through applying to university. Now I know it's a scary next step, but there is a lot of things that you can do to make it a whole lot easier. So I've written down some notes on my phone and we're going to go through it. So briefly, just an introduction. As I said before, I got my results today and I got what I needed to get into my first choice university, and I will be going to University of Stirling in September, which I'm delighted about. So I'm just going to share with you. Actually, to start with, I'll share with you basic how UCAS works. So the medicine deadline is earlier, and for some courses it's earlier. So it's normally October. It was October 15th this year if you're applying to medicine or Oxford and Cambridge and stuff like that. So just be aware if you have an earlier deadline. But the general deadline is January the 15th. Well, it was this year. I don't know what it is next year. But so basically you have to have your UCAS fully applied, sent off by then. Now I would advise to do it earlier, get it out the way so that you can start preparing for your A-levels. So I know some people struggle with what they want to do. For me, it was super easy and I'm fully passionate about Spanish. So I chose to apply for Spanish and Latin American studies, and I applied for 5 different universities, and I had my application sent off by October the 30th. So it was pretty soon on, and then it's just a waiting game where I worked towards what I needed to get. So I carried on working through, worked my ass off so that I could get what I needed, and then the offers started dripping in. So I got the offer that I needed, obviously because I'm going to Stirling, and from then on I knew what I needed to get. So I just carried on doing what I was doing. So after, basically you need to choose what's right for you, visit the universities. When I visited Stirling, I fell in love with it from day one. Like, it was the first university that I visited, and I didn't visit any others. That's a lie, actually. I visited Manchester Met later on, but that was only because I was kind of panicking. So visit the universities, work out where you feel at home, consider like if you want to live close to home, far away from home. For me, Stirling is about 2 hours from my house. So to me it's far enough away but not too close. So just consider everything about you, what your hobbies are, what your interests are, what you see you could do. To me, Stirling's a small enough city, but it's big enough to have everything that I want. So after you've made the tough decision, you really need to, the personal statement is the worst bit, and it's the most known. That's the bit which you have to really take your time over. So after you've chosen a course that you're really passionate about, you need to get on paper, well, on a Word document, why you're so passionate about this subject. So to me, I talked about, last August I visited Barcelona on my own to attend a language school, and I really pushed that because it was a difficult thing as a 17-year-old to do, to go to a foreign country completely on your own, to take part in a school which was like full of like 22-year-old people. So I really pushed the fact that I had such a passion for the culture and the language, but I also pushed my extracurricular activities, so swimming, volunteering, any sports and hobbies that you do, just really show it's not just about your grades, and it's about you as a person and whether or not you'd fit into that university life. So you really need to sell yourself, any extra jobs that you might do, things like that kind of thing, just extra stuff alongside. So after you've done the personal statement and you've had everything sent off, it's basically time for the pre-exam prep, right? So, sorry, I'm looking down, I've got notes. So basically, the one thing I must stress is you get what you work for. On results day, when you open that envelope, you are the only person who knows that you've worked as hard as you can for what you've got. So you really just have to work your butt off. And by doing that, I would recommend, in fact, I would stress that you have to do extra work alongside your homework. Homework's all very well and good. Who is this messaging me? Homework's all very well and good, and they'll set you homework and stuff like that, but you need to be doing extra stuff on top. So, for example, we had I kept doing practice questions upon practice questions. If I'd already done them, I did them again. I did extra tasks in the textbooks. I did extra essays. I must have done about 40 essays for just the French book alone. Honestly, I cannot stress how important it is to practice how you would do it in the exam. Fair enough, use a dictionary, use notes, but as long as you can mimic that and you can learn from how you've done it, that's the most important way. I was always told, train how you play. So that means you mimic how you do it in the exam. So that's practice questions, things like that kind of thing. So you've done all that, and I have another tip that is, don't just revise using one method. Use multiple methods. So my point is, while I was doing my A-levels, I was a swimmer, so basically I would never train just by doing one type of training. So for example, there's multiple ways of training. There's aerobic training, there's anaerobic training, there's land training, there's water trainings. All these things come into it and make you a better swimmer, whereas it's no different than you wouldn't just use flashcards. I use flashcards, mind maps, practice questions, and all these things combined to make a bigger picture and to make sure that it was really engaged in my brain. So I would 100% recommend doing more than one method. Now, like I may have said, I did languages, so my A-levels were Spanish, French and PE, but I really found useful Memrise. It's an app which you can download on your phone or you can download it on your laptop. You basically make this account and it's really useful for vocabulary revision. So I would 100%, likewise, Quizlet is kind of a similar thing, but I loved Memrise. And you can make them yourself, or if you have a look, someone might have already made like an A-level Spanish. Like I made loads of A-level Spanish revision cards for vocabulary. I'd also recommend for languages specifically, know your grammar inside out. Like you can't string together a sentence without basic grammar. In fact, without any grammar at all. Like grammar and vocabulary are the key to languages, full stop. And also, during language A-level, there's a literature aspect of it. So really make sure that you've gone that extra mile to reread, re-reread, rewatch, re-rewatch. The amount of times I watched El Laberinto del Fauno, the film is a work of art, but I could recite that in my sleep, like honestly. But the key is to know that inside out, because at the end of the day, that is making the difference between going to your favourite university and going to the crappy little university next door. And it seems like it's hard work at the time, but it will be totally worth it when you open that envelope and you have the grades that you want. Honestly, the feeling is so good. So honestly, just re-go over everything. There's normally like workshops online or like revision guides and stuff. Use them and use them to make your revision materials. So I would use the film and the revision guide to make mind maps, make flashcards, know the quotes, stuff like that. So I would do stuff like that just to make sure that it was fully ingrained in my brain. So you've done your revision and it's coming up to exam time, and you really need to make sure that while you've worked so hard, you need to take time out to yourself. So I would take time out around about, and just to take time out to be with people who are close to me. So be that your best friend, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your mum and dad, your closest family relatives. Just spend time and go out with them. So I would every Sunday, well, most Sundays, me and my mum and dad would go for a dog walk, and we would take half an hour out and go for a family dog walk just to clear my brain from all of the stress from the cramming and revision, and it just drives you crazy. Like, there's no easy way of putting it. A-levels and hires and whatever they are in anywhere else, they are brutal. Like, it is the most stressful time that you will go through, because at the end of the day, you're trying to get to where you want to be, and that's the only thing in your mind. But you really do need to take time out to be yourself so that you don't turn into a revision zombie, because that ain't a fun person to be around. At the end of the day, exams aren't the be-all and end-all, and you just need to stay relaxed, because if you're relaxed, then you're going to do better. So the thing is, remember the basic, getting a cramp in my hips. Remember the basic stress management techniques that you can learn. So things like, just remember that you can only control what you can control. You can't control what's on the exam paper at the end of the day. You can't control what your grade is. You can only control how you're preparing and how you're ensuring that you're most prepared in that situation. So the only way for you to be prepared is for you to have done the work that you need to have done. So the only way that you can walk into that exam hall confident is if you know that you've done everything you can do. Everything you can do. There's not a single thing that you could have done more in that specific situation. For me, and what I would recommend is, the most important thing is to start your revision early. Start it early and do little and often so that it's engaged in your long-term memory. One, when you go to university, you're going to still know that stuff. Like, you can still speak Spanish because you've done it for that many times. It's engaged in your long-term memory. If it's just engaged in your short-term memory, you'll forget it. Two, it's also, it's less stressful. Like, cramming is not as good as gradually revising, because at the end of the day, you know that stuff, rather than being like, oh, I did it in 24 hours. So just little and often, set out a revision plan. So plan in when you're going to wake up, when you're on study leave, plan in the same time to get up every single day, because that's good for your circadian rhythm, and plan the same time to go to bed so that you're getting sufficient sleep, and plan in half an hour for lunch, half an hour for breakfast, half an hour for dinner, because you need to fuel your body. Also have water and stuff by your revision table. Then plan in any extra hobbies. So I did swimming, so I planned in, I had a timetable and I planned in what times I would be swimming at. And then therefore you have how many hours either side of lunch, dinner and swimming or hobby. and you have how many hours you have to work. So basically I would go for half an hour on and then a 10-15 minute break. So you need to take breaks, but make sure you plan everything, because that way, say you have a meeting or you have something crop up, you can just replan. It's all good. You chill. Life's good in the hood. But if you've not planned and you're like, oh no, I've got something here and I haven't revised, your panic station's a go. And that's not fun. And it also just makes you very stressed out. And it also could detriment your results at the end of the day. So the key is to plan, plan, plan. And people who are watching this, who are my friends, know I'm obsessed with a plan, and they'll probably be like, Sophie, what are you on about? But seriously, planning is the best way forward, because otherwise you're not going to be able to cope during exams and revision. And also make sure you know when your exams are, because my friend rocked up and was like, oh, I thought the exam was today when it was actually tomorrow. So just make sure you know where you are, when, and how much time you have to revise, because therefore you can spread your time evenly. Make sure you're spreading it across all the subjects and all the topics, and it's just easier so that you know what you've done when. So what I did was I had different coloured cards. So say for example for PE, I had say blue cards for anatomy, and I had each card numbered, and then I had a spreadsheet of the numbers, and I would tick off the ones which I knew off by heart. So at the end of the day before the exam, I could see which ones I wasn't as confident with, so I could re-go over them. So it's just an organisation thing, really. So you've done your exams, once they're done, forget about it. There's nothing you can do now. You can't change anything, you can't change what's going to be in that envelope, you can't bribe anyone, do anything. You just have to enjoy your summer and try not to think about it. I know it's easier said than done, but just enjoy. So for example, I went on holiday, had fun with my friends, had fun with my boyfriend, had fun with my family, we did stuff together, took my mind off it, and then the day before results day comes. So just prepare for the worst case scenario and the best case scenario, so you know what's going to happen. So worst case scenario, you have to go through clearing. So clearing is a very complicated system that nobody has a clue how it works. Absolutely nobody. It's like the cloud. What even is the cloud? Like, seriously? So basically, clearing is basically the place where you go to if you've not met your grades that you need. So you've got your first choice. So say for example you need 3 Bs to get your first choice. Your second choice, say you need BBC. And so you miss your first choice, you miss your second choice, you go through clearing. So you basically have to so the day before, look online, see what's free, what's not free, see where you could go, where you'd potentially be happy, just so that you've got a worst case scenario planned. Then what I'd say, make sure on the day you have your personal ID for UCAS, any grades that you might need, potentially your personal statement printed off, contact numbers. So I had, for example, I had Sterling Clearing helpline saved in my phone, just in case any mishaps came about, and I had all that saved everywhere. Make sure your phone's charged, take a spare charger with you just in case. So then the day comes, surround yourself with close friends and family. Like, they are the people who supported you through the hard times, and respect the fact that they're going to help you in the future. And surround yourself with them, because they're going to help you if it all goes pear-shaped or great. Like, they were with me when I was crying, they were with me when I was smiling. Like, remember those people and cherish them close to your heart. So I rocked up with my mum and dad, and we basically opened it, and the results were great. Like, I got what I needed, and I was happy about that. Now, I had a bit of a problem with UCAS, and there was a bit of a mess up, but that doesn't normally happen, and I was a very rare case, which kind of was a bit stressful, but, you know, it happens. Technology isn't the best thing in the world. So just remember that if it goes great, yay, you're off to your favourite, your absolute goal dream uni, and you're going there, and you can start on accommodation and ordering freshers passes and getting to know people on Facebook. But if it goes bad, who cares? Uni and exam results don't define you. Just remember that there's people out there who've been really successful and not gone through uni. There's other things that you can do, and just remember that everything happens for a reason. So I really wish you the best of luck with A-levels, UCAS. If you're going to sixth form this year, if you're going to uni this year, congratulations. I wish you the best of luck in the future. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to comment below. Like and subscribe this video because it really supports my channel, and I'll see you in the next video. Please get in touch, and I'll leave my Twitter and Instagram details in the comment bar below. Thank you for everything, guys. Enjoy, and dare to live and dare to love. Thank you.